Hello, I'm Naomi Korn. I'm the director of the OER IPR support project. I'm going to show you how you can easily understand the IPR and licensing obligations associated with your OER project. As an OER project, you will need to ensure that your OER can be reused and repurposed by end users, normally via the web and via Jorum. How can we identify the IPR and licensing issues that need to be resolved? The first thing that you can do is to select the appropriate Creative Commons license that you wish to use in order to ensure that your end users can, wherever possible, reuse and repurpose the OER that you're creating. Now, normally, the types of Creative Commons licenses that you can choose are either the Creative Commons Zero, Creative Commons Attribution, and Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike. Further information about these Creative Commons licenses can be found in our Startup Pack in a briefing paper written by Jorum. If you wish to use any Creative Commons license with a non-commercial or no derivative restriction, you will need to speak to your Strand manager. So once you've selected your Creative Commons license that your end users are going to be using your resource under, and this may be, for the sake of argument, a Creative Commons Attribution license, you will then need to ensure that you identify the various layers of rights in your OER. The idea behind this is that the rights that you'll need to negotiate with any third parties in your OER need to be compatible with the end use license that you have chosen in order to ensure that your end users can repurpose and reuse your OER. It's an almost inevitability that your OER will comprise of layers of rights. These will probably consist of works created by you or members of staff associated with your or your partner institutions. It may comprise of works produced by students, potentially material that you've taken from the internet, works that you may have commissioned from third parties, performances, and there may also be content where you don't know who the rights holders are or the rights holders cannot be traced. For works that have been created by either yourself or members of staff associated with your institution, it's unlikely that you'll need to seek any third-party rights unless these comprise of sound recordings. If they're works created by any freelancers or contractors, you will need to ensure that the permissions that you seek from them are compatible with permissions that you are then granting to end users. And similarly, for all the other stakeholders involved in this piece of OER, whether it be students, performers, even material that you found on the internet, you will need to seek permission for your end users to be able to repurpose and reuse the content where they own the rights. The essential point here being that your rights in need to be compatible with your rights out. It's important to remember that you may need to repeat the process of rights clearances a number of times to ensure that all the various elements are compatible with the rights out. You'll also need to ensure that if you have already been granted permission to use any of these elements, this permission must either be the same or more than the permission that you are granting to your end users. If the permission is less, it will not be enough either for you to use it or for your end users to repurpose and reuse your OER. For example, if you find material on the internet that's already licensed under a Creative Commons license, unless it's compatible with a Creative Commons Attribution license, if that's the end use license that you decide to choose, you will need to make a number of decisions, either not to use that content or to replace it with something else, or to go back to the rights holders and seek permission again. Only by choosing your end-use license first can you deal with the IPR and licensing issues associated with your OER project.